A bond purchase is going to save Barnstable some cash. Hotels will not need to hire certified lifeguards to staff pools, at least for now. And find out how the nasty winter weather is affecting the real estate market. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Wednesday, February 11th, 2015. I'm Sarah Mantle. A bond purchase is expected to save the town of Barnstable more than $2 million. Town Treasurer Deb Blanchette announced last week that the town received competitive bids for a $22,905,000 20-year new money and refunding bond issue. Morgan Stanley and Company purchased the bonds at an average interest rate of 1.79%. Prior to the sale, Standard & Poor's reaffirmed the town's AAA bond rating. No changes will be made to lifeguard regulations for public and private pools. It's been a topic of discussion for the Board of Health following two tragic drownings in Yarmouth last year. Kara Olson with the Cape Cod's YMCA addressed the board during last night's public meeting to offer her organization's help.
And I'm here, we are a large facility, so we do have lifeguards certified. But we are here to basically educate. And we want people to understand the difference between what a lifeguard certification provides and what a CPR certification provides. The lifeguard certification enables our potential lifeguard candidates to be proactive, to also be responsible, but to understand how to handle an emergency in the pool. They teach them the levels of the water, in addition to how to handle such emergencies in the water. A CPR certification class and a swimmer is not someone who can recognize an emergency in the water. Lifeguards are taught to be proactive, to understand how to handle it before it happens rather than when it's happening. But that's not the purpose of this conversation while I'm up here. The YMCA of Cape Cod offers lifeguard classes year-round. And while I have been in aquatics management for over 15 years and I'm newer to the Cape, I do understand everyone's hardship with getting lifeguards out here, because it was a reality difference when I came onto Cape and saw the difference between always having lifeguards at my hands to not being able to get them and always having to find them. However, I've seen that turn recently on Cape. More people are looking for jobs. More of them are the younger 16, 17-year-old lifeguards that you can mold and train. Given that, we also educate the community through our programs on CPR, but also about vigilance awareness training and safe swimming practices. And I think for any business, any small business, that is what they're going to be looking at in addition to these certified swimmer principles that you guys have, is that they're needing to have a vigilance awareness training and education for their staff, so that their staff, to save expense, because I hear that, we're a nonprofit, we do it all the time, we're always trying to find a way to cut the dollar. They need to educate their staff on vigilance awareness training, to understand that if you are responsible for the bodies in that pool, what is going to happen if that body is in the bottom of 8 feet, is from what I hear today. Understanding that there's a difference between a passive guest in the pool and a spinal person. How are you going to treat those situations? I've heard a lot of great things today talking about the way that you can sense the technology that's out there. There's absolutely a lot of different ways that you can sense emergencies in your pool. However, there's a lot of expense to that, and it's up to the business owner on how much they want to expense into that. As far as having lifeguards on your facility, yes, the minimum wage is $9 an hour, and I can tell you that's what the YMCA of Cape Cod brings their new lifeguards in, at $9 an hour. Getting these people who are looking for the beach jobs, yes, they want 13, and yes, that's the Massachusetts, average wage, and there's some facilities that will pay that. But you can get a lifeguard on your pool for $9 an hour, and if it's the safest way, that is a way.
After hearing from many local hotel and condo owners, the board voted 2-1 in favor of keeping the current pool regulations intact and not increasing the regulation to require a certified lifeguard monitor the pools. The latest real estate numbers are out. To find out if the winter weather has affected sales, Barnstable This Morning host Sarah Coleman talked with Register of Deeds Jack
So
Mead.
let's talk a little bit about January 2015. Of course, the first month of the year is over. Talk with me a little bit about what the numbers reveal for real estate activity in that month.
Well, we had a rather flat month in terms of volume and value compared to a year ago. January, we're about even with where we were. Only down in terms of volume, 0.3%, which is effectively one deed, I think, was the difference in terms of being recorded. And the median property sale value was down less than 0.1%. So, 1%, 9.9 of 1%. So we're down. Not much of a change in terms of our activity levels.
Exactly. So pretty right on from last year. And is that typical activity volume for January? Obviously, it's typical if we compare it from last year. But kind of thinking back to years in the past, is this what we typically see in January?
Well, January and February, March are our slowest quarter of the year. So our activity levels are traditionally low. We had the snow apocalypse at the end of last week of the month, so we were closed 2 days at the end of the month, so that may have affected activity levels for January, but that action would be kicked off into February, so we may see whatever deals were going to happen at the end of last month happening soon, notwithstanding unless we continue to have snow at the pace we're having. But I think the weather does play a factor in terms of how we do in this time of year, or how we do in the early spring. If actually, it's hard to go looking at homes when you can't get up the driveway, or
Yes.
The walks aren't shoveled, et cetera, for summer homes. And so I expect this may slow down activity for a little bit, and we may have a late spring in terms of major activity. So I would be surprised if we have really strong numbers, going forward for the next couple months. But I would expect that would pick up as the weather gets better.
Absolutely. As you said, I don't think lots of people are going to be wanting to walk around and look at red property. I don't even want to walk out my own front door.
Right.
So certainly, a deterrent. Can we talk a little bit about the mortgage activity? It seems like, again, that was flat as well.
It was a slight increase, which is a change from the usual, up nearly 2% from a year ago, which is effectively not much from a statistical point of view. But I expect we may see a little bit of a bump in that activity. The rates have gone down again. They were a little over 4 for a 30-year fixed, and now they're down about 3.6 and a quarter, 6 and a tenth, or close to 3.6. So. In that area, so it's possible we may see some bump up in refinance activity, and it can remain some great borrowing numbers for home sales as well in terms of affordability.
Great. And then what about home prices? Where are we seeing that number go? Is it going up, going down in terms of the median sales price or the median?
Well,
sales price?
we've been seeing the median price increase slightly over the course of 2014. We were up, I think, for the year last year, about 3% in terms of the median price. So we've been seeing slow but steady uptick in values as we've been, the market's been slowly improving. So nothing radical, but we're starting to see, I think, we're done with the bottom effectively, and we're working our way, back to a little more stability and so whether that's the new normal or not is anyone's guess. It's the crystal ball gets very cloudy, but we are seeing positive numbers in terms of valuations, although not significant, but
right.
Steady.
And Mead is one of 4 guests featured monthly during Barnstable This Morning's Business Barnstable segment every Wednesday. The Accessory Affordable Apartment Program Zoning Board of Appeals meets tonight at 6 in the Town Hall hearing room. The Barnstable Youth Commission meets tonight at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center at 6:30. The Old Kings Highway Historic District Commission meets tonight at 6:30 at the West Barnstable Community Building. And the Zoning Board of Appeals will meet at 7 in the Town Hall hearing room. Well, be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we will learn more about a new conference for women. We'll chat with Tom Kerr of the Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority, and we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mantle.